and would prepare us for the very day we live in. And this is the day of the unity of the entire human family. And Indigenous people across this world are now stepping into the discussions, the collaboration between all members of the human family, along with our strong and beloved allies, who are also recognizing their Indigenous background from wherever they've come on Mother Earth. And so I want to give Thanksgiving for that. For that. And I want to give Thanksgiving and just reflect for a minute on what we're experiencing here, because there's very few places on Mother Earth today that have done what has happened here in the last 5 years. Really. If you think about it, here's a nation that has every reason to close its doors to certain members of the human family for what's been done here. The injustice that has been done here. But what this world needs more than anything else is love and forgiveness. It learns the need to learn to give again, to share again. And this nation has done this. This nation has worked all year for 5 years without expectation and fed everybody who walks through into this camp. Everybody. Everyone. As long as you respect that one sign outside that gate, no alcohol, no drugs. That's all. You're here. You're part of this circle. When I heard this beautiful prayer this morning by the elder, he said, I wish goodness for all. He didn't break it up into this one, this one, this one. All. That's all of us. That's every one of us. And so I give Thanksgiving for that. That is love. That's forgiveness. That is what the world is moving towards, and this is one of the signs that it's happening. And you know, it's not easy. And I want to thank Daryl Bob for the work he's done. Chief Michael Leach, all those that have served us and fed us all these years, all those that have continued to come and pray. Because, you know, in order to bring and invite all members of the human family to come here, there's relatives who, by every right, by the way, because of what happened in residential school, they have feelings about this. They have feelings. And it's only in the Creator's own time, in the Creator's own grace, that we can forgive. And so you've got to know that it's not easy to stand up when people have been hurt through things like residential schools and stand there and say we need to feed all the people. Because from your own people, your own beloved ones, you know, you get arrows in the back and bullets through the front. In fact, I've gone through, got so many, they kind of just whiz through. Oh, thank you, there's another one. Oh, thank you. And it's true. It's true. It's part of our growth. Because if we pray to come to recognize our reality, and our reality is we are spiritual beings, we're each of us a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. That's who we really are. We are spiritual beings. We are noble beings. We were made in the spiritual image of the Creator, and by that I mean by those spiritual qualities that we're growing. To be kind, to be loving, to be just, to be courageous, and to walk this life always knowing that if we can surrender ourselves to the will of the Creator, we'll find a nice, peaceful road. A nice, peaceful road. You know, I was just in Fairbanks yesterday, or the day before yesterday. They had a great big 30-year anniversary of this big sobriety movement that began from the inspiration of Alkali Lake. And I'd been up there 30 years ago when they got started. And you know, I said something, because everybody was there focusing on how can we get more healthy, how can we get more wellness. And you know, I want to really give thanksgiving for being an addict. There is no better illness to have than being an addict, to having addiction. I always say this. People say, you're crazy. I say no, because there's only one way out, and that's the spiritual path. That's the spiritual path, and that's the purpose of our life here, is to grow spiritually. That's the whole purpose. So what a great disease to have. We are chosen people. We are the chosen people. Each and every one of us, not more or less than anybody else. Because some of us, it's our responsibility to reflect the beauty when we speak. Of what are we reflecting? We're reflecting what's here. Because I know that anything I say that people understand, it's because they already know it, or they wouldn't understand it. If I talk about a spiritual quality or exemplify one, they wouldn't know it because they already have it. We're just mirrors. We're mirrors to each other. We are the curriculum. We are the curriculum. Because it's as we walk our path, these little ones see us. And I'm so thrilled, so thankful to see all these young people here. You are the 7th generation that we have been praying for over 500 years. And you are destined to go further than any of all of us that have gone before. All. Because a true father or grandfather or mother or grandmother or auntie or sister, they pray that those coming after them will go further than them. We don't pray, well, can't get them better than what I've done. Now, some people, by the way, even people got sick, they don't want their children to advance further. But we know from our teachings that our prayer is our young people. Think of my nephew, Toshka Reuben George. I want him to go way further than what anything I've done. You young people go way further, because it's your responsibility to bring upon this Mother Earth peace. To bring peace on this Mother Earth. You should get too riled up here. You should to bring peace. To bring peace. To bring peace. To bring peace. And, you know, I had the opportunity here just 4 days ago. I flew directly from Panama, where I got a chance to, I was invited by the chiefs there to come and join their Grand Council or Congress of the Kuna Yala. The Kuna Yala are much like the people here in British Columbia in that they revolted in 1925 and threw everybody but the Kuna Yalas from their land. And they were able to negotiate with the government of Panama complete autonomy. So you don't step on their land unless you have permission. And they've kept that land, and it's very interesting how they've divided their governments. They have 3 supreme chiefs who are responsibility for the material dimension of their life. And they come, and that was the meeting I was at. And in this particular Kaimarka or reserve or land, they have 49 communities. And so 49 caciques or 49 chiefs come. Each one of those chiefs bring 5 delegates from their community. And so the 5 delegates have the voice, but not the vote. The 49 chiefs have the vote, but they have to listen to the delegates. And they speak as well. But then they also have 3 supreme chiefs and a cacique in every community who's responsible for culture, language, and spirituality. They feel it's just as important equally to the political side. Now, the interesting thing is when they get down to meet, they really meet. And I'll tell you what, I used to go in Bolivia, it was 1970 and 71. I used to remember to bring things like towels and cups and toilet paper. And I got reminded real quick those things are important. We landed in the jungle, and these Kuna relatives came to get us and took us across in these boats in this island. The whole island was a community. And so they start every morning 7 a.m. sharp. 7 a.m. sharp. And I sat there at the beginning of this council. And the first part, the first 2 hours at least, is the spiritual caciques, the ones responsible for cultural language and spirituality. They, for some reason, they sing their songs in hammocks. So they set up hammocks. And they sing for a long time these old songs. And then the spiritual leaders get up and talk. There's 300 and some people inside this thatched council chamber. No windows, 2 entrances, about average 90 degrees all the time. A little warm. Kind of like having a consultation inside of a sweat lodge. And I'll tell you what, sweat was running down my face. The rest of the relatives were just sitting there like, average day. But then those spiritual leaders, for at least an hour, they made sure that everybody understood the purpose of the meeting. We're here to think about 49 communities and every single person in that community and every one of our young people and those on board. We are not here to seek our own personal agenda. We are not here to be jealous. We are not here to disrespect each other. And they went over this and over this and over this and over this to make sure that the foundation of this consultation between these nations, these 49 communities, was based in the spirit, in the spiritual teachings. And it was something to see. And then they begin to meet. They don't take a break. At about the middle of the morning, all the Kuna women come in. And of course, everybody, not so much the men, but all the women are still dressed in their traditional clothing they dressed in before the Spaniards came. And they all line up, and they come in on both sides, and they bring cups of chocolate, kind of a hot chocolate. Not too hot. You're already hot enough. And then, of course, they drink that chocolate, give them a little energy. They go till noontime. They take a break at lunch. By 1 o'clock, they're back in there, continuing to consult. About the middle of the afternoon, all the women come again. Bring a little bit more of that chocolate. And then they go have a break for dinner time. And then they're back at it by 6 or 7 till 10 at night. Bring more chocolate. And by the way, I'm not saying this in a way to say that's better than, less than, whatever. I'm saying that across this hemisphere, the reunion of the Condor and Eagle and all the sacred prophecies are unfolding. And I had the great honor of sitting first with the 3 spiritual. I'm going to tell this little story. The 3 spiritual kind of supreme caciques in responsible culture and spirituality had asked to have dinner with me. So we sat together and talked and shared and translated from, I'd speak in Spanish, they'd speak in Kuna, and then translate back into Spanish and back and forth. And when I was a little boy, my father told me a story because I lived in Panama. And it's kind of strange how our life is a circle. And we're only here for a short time. And I told him a story that happened during World War II. My father was stationed down in the Navy, in the Panama Canal Zone there, because it was so strategic. Of course, if anybody ever blew up the Panama Canal, it would really put a huge economic bam into the system. And they're doing that by themselves anyway, so that's happening. I mean, there's no way this is going to continue. Can you imagine? I'm going to make sure I don't lose that spot there. Remember, I was talking about my dad. Can you imagine this equation? Just think about this. You're totally and completely in debt that's unpayable. Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars all over this Mother Earth. They spend it through trillions of dollars of weapons, the biggest industry in this world. And then you believe that by printing money, you're going to get out of debt? Just think of this. This is insanity. So what they do is they got these printing presses going 24 hours a day, printing more trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, to the point now they're talking about having a $1 trillion coin. Yeah, a $1 trillion platinum coin they'll put in the treasury because it's taken them so much to print all that money and all that paper. And they believe that this idea, a materialistic idea, that by producing more and more, the stock market will continue to go forever and ever, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And it's going to cause a complete change of the way we live on Mother Earth. A complete change. Well, anyway, so my father told me, he said, you know, son, some of my friends, we like to fish. We went out into the Atlantic to fish, and a big storm came up, and they got so seasick. He said, we were so sick, he said, we didn't care what happened. And the boat sunk. And they somehow made it to this island that was deserted. Because there's many of these islands that are deserted. They had no water, nothing. And just so happened that a Kuna woman came by in a canoe and found them there. And got them water and so forth and so on, and then the Kunas took them from island to island until finally they got a place they could communicate to Panama, to the Canal Zone, and the Navy got them out of there. And all these years I've held that story. It's been over 70 years ago. And you know, the elder to the left, the eldest one, said, you know, he said, that's in our oral tradition. That's in our oral history. We knew about that. He said, the island your father and his friends landed on is known as an island that people are drawn to, and if they're not good people, they die. He said, so your father must have been a good man and his friends, because they lived. And I realized, if it wasn't for those Kunas, that woman, that found my father and his friends, I would not be sitting there. They had saved my father's life and thus given me life. So how was it after all these years, almost 69, I found myself back there at the beginning? And so what we're doing down there is we've just completed, after 4 years, setting up our Four Rose Foundation. It's now, the coordinator is a young Kuna, and it's there, it's in the center. If you've seen Shift of the Ages, and the elder who was here the first year, Tata Alejandro, the elected head of all the Mayan elders, he said, from the center, the eagle and the condor will come together. And that is happening. You know, our beautiful brother from Peru is here with his beautiful daughter. They are representative of that. And I want you, when you get a chance, to go down in that pit house. There's two young people here. One is Simsian. Where is she? In the back there, Phil. Yeah. I want to thank you. And where's the young man? Right. He's from Ecuador. Ecuador. They, out of a vision, Daryl told them a vision. They painted, and I walked in there. I almost fell over. You painted the reunion of the condor and eagle, and I thought, how in the world did they do this? I thought it was one artist. To see how the two of you came together from the north and south and created that eagle and condor, that is a gift. That's a gift of the Spirit. I thank you for that. One last thing I want to say is that I have complete faith, total and complete faith, that no matter what's in our path, there is no power on heaven or earth that's going to stop our prophecies from being fulfilled. And it's going to be the young people of Mother Earth that are going to fulfill them. In our communities here in Canada and the United States, the average age in every one of our communities is 25 years old. 25. Inuit to the north are 19. The entire world of 7 billion people, the average age is 25. In Mexico, the entire country, everybody in that country of Mexico, the average age is 25. And the low south into Guatemala and Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, all those countries, and on into Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela, Colombia, so forth. The average age is 19 years old. 19. Now, once our young people recognize what's been given to them and their destiny we've been praying for, they will take this world to a place that all our elders, all the visionaries since the beginning of time have been praying about and telling us about. There's no other way to go. This colonization process has been going on since recorded history. But Mitakuyepi, there's no place to escape. Oh. Right now, there's no place to go. We're all right here. Just like the prophecy said back when we went down to Sweat House Lodge, that old man, Ed Bernstick, was Dakota, spoke Cree as well. He said, someday you're going to see the everywhere spirit made manifest, and someday you'll be able to look into the face of somebody on the other side of Mother Earth, and they'll look back at you. And that's that everywhere spirit that the young people, got to be careful with it. It can take you away too. But there's nothing happening day by day that not everybody knows about. So Mitakuyepi, again, I want to give you thanksgiving from all my heart and soul, and say that each of us, again, please remember this, each of us is a sovereignty, ancient and perishable and everlasting. All of us. We are sacred beings. We are sacred beings. And be kind to yourself. We also make mistakes. Even Lee Brown. But I got to tell you something about my brother. I know. I didn't say anything bad about my brother. The one thing I love about my brother, he taught me, because I used to be very, very serious, because he's been a good role model for me. I have never known anybody that loves and laughs at their jokes more than him. And you know something? If you can't laugh at your own jokes, you shouldn't tell them. So anyway, Mitakuyepi, thank you so much. You know, we're on this journey. Infancy. Over here, we go to childhood.
Generator.
Childhood. We come over here, become elders, and all of a sudden you're standing over here. That's quite a deal. And you know something? You look in the mirror and say, what in the world happened? Really? How did this happen? Shoot, I used to have this black curly hair. I used to be about 6 feet tall, you know. My plumbing was good. Shot now. And then you realize, right here is a way out. That's the doorway out of here. And a lot of relatives have already gone. Lots of them that were just as old as me or younger. They've gone on. They're waiting. And then you realize, where do you need to run your best race? Here you go in the 400 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. You got 100 meters to go. Where do you run your best race? Huh? Right here.
Now.
That's the last part. That's where we have to become. Is to know we have this journey to make. Let's make sure this last part, we keep ourselves good and healthy so we can really kick it. And come flying over across that line right into the other world. But before I fall down, thank you so much. So much. Thank you, Statlium Nation. Thank you, these beautiful mountains and trees and land that we stand on. It's beautiful here. How? Mitakuyepi. Shuk mano he meido. Papa he meido. Ho. Ho, ho, ho.